Recording in progress.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the May 25th, 2021 City of Cupertino Planning Commission meeting. Let's move over to Abby and do a roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Saxena,
Yes, present.
Commissioner Kapil,
Present.
Commissioner Madhipadla,
Here.
Vice Chair Scharf,
Here.
Chair Wang.
Here.
You did pretty good with my name.
I've been practicing.
No problem. I'll give you mine then. It's Wong, actually, so for future reference. So very, very cool. Welcome, everybody, to the meeting. So we'll start with our ceremonial matters and presentations. That's item number 1. And we have City of Cupertino IT department staff regarding our new dual MFA 365 application. So, floor is yours, Roger.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us as part of your meeting.
Oh, hey, Con. Hey, hi.
Hey, how are you? Good. All right. So hopefully you guys have had the opportunity to check your email that I sent out last week and kind of got an idea of why we're here and why we're doing this. And hopefully you had a chance to see the video as well, the how-to video. Hopefully you guys also had the opportunity to download the application on your phones and or tablets. If not, please do so. It's going to go into effect after your meeting today. And then I was going to do a quick demo on just kind of reiterating my video that I made or that I sent out, just kind of redoing it here live so that you guys kind of have a refresher. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And before I start, any questions or concerns that we can address before I do the presentation?
Yeah. So, Ikram, I haven't done any of that stuff. I haven't downloaded anything and stuff like that because I don't trust anything, that comes from claiming to be such and such and download this because all of our email addresses are in the public domain out there. People send emails, picking up addresses from there. So I never click on anything, that comes from our, city email address asking me to click on anything. So.
Wait, so you don't, you're saying you don't click on anything from the internally?
No, I have not, installed the app that.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, so I mean, yeah, I'm saying go ahead. It's okay.
Yeah.
And, that's what you're looking for.
This is Benny. I'm the IT manager, so figured before Ikram starts, I'll kind of give you a quick overview on exactly why we're doing this, right? So, as you guys are aware, you probably have seen items in the news where, a city, a county, or some company has gotten hacked, or because of some data leakage and whatnot. So, we want to make sure that we're kind of ahead of the curve on that. So, one of the things that we do is, passwords, they can get compromised from time to time. The secondary method of authentication through Duo kind of allows you to make sure that to identify that you are who you say you are, right? So you guys might have seen something similar where if you log into your bank account using a different computer or device, it'll ask you, it's like, hey, are you really you? Please answer some of these questions, or we'll send you a 6-digit code to your cell phone number to make sure that's you. So we're doing just something similar to that. It is something that's going to be required by Microsoft, who is our email provider, in October. So we want to make sure that we just kind of get ahead of the game here and make sure that everyone is set up for this multi-factor authentication here. So again, thank you again for letting us be here. And Ikram, I'll hand it off to you.
Cool. Thanks, Benny. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. All right. So hopefully you guys can see the screen here. So basically, a lot hasn't changed except for the Duo piece of it. But going forward, what you'll do is you'll log into your email like you've always have. So I've created a test account to kind of show you guys how this works. All right, so you'll log in as usual. And after you put in your password, this is where you're going to get the new screen for Duo. And basically all it's going to do is ask you to set this up. It's only a one-time setup, but your initial login after the enabling of Duo, you'll go in, it'll ask you to set up. So you'll go ahead and do so, and you're going to be using either a mobile phone or a tablet. I'm using a mobile phone. I'm going to go ahead and put my number in. It's going to ask you to verify, so you want to check this box here. Go ahead and continue, and then it's going to want to verify that number. So I'm going to ask you to text me. Enter that text, that pin here. Now it's verified my number. Now I can continue forward. Now this is going to be an important piece here. Regardless of how you're doing this, you want to make sure that you come down to this drop down menu here and select send this device a Duo push. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to send you an actual, like a beep, like a notification to the Duo app, letting you know there's something there. There's a approval awaiting for you. This way, if someone down the road, somehow gets your password and is trying to log into your email, by you seeing this and knowing that's not you, kind of gives you that red flag alert. Hey, something's not right. So I'm going to do that, and now you have these options. I'm going to tell me to send me a push. Now, hopefully you guys may have not heard that, but it gave me a notification. And inside the Duo app, there's a little green bar that hovers. You're going to click on it, and you're going to hit approve. And just like that, I'm back into my account. It's simple as that. Going forward, then the only thing you'll have to see is just the Duo piece of it, whether you want a push, a call, or a text, or a pin of some kind. So it's simple as that, and shouldn't take you much more than maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes of that, including the download, to get into to get this set up. But again, it just adds that extra layer of security that we especially need these days to kind of keep you guys' account safe. I'm gonna stop sharing here. If you guys have any other questions.
Just
Yes,
have a
sir.
question I'm going to ask on behalf of some folks, just in case. What happens if you don't want to provide the city with a mobile number? How would you get your second code on the 2FA?
You can always do a landline, which would call you, but then you'd have to be around it each time, right?
Each time that happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you're checking your email most of the time from home on a computer, and you happen to have a landline, then yeah, as long as you have access to it, that's fine. But many of us, even many of you guys, as I know, have emails even on your cell phones, and so that might become a little challenging if you're not around.
And if you do download the app, it won't. It just uses that your cell phone number for the initial authentication. But going forward, if you want to use the app, it doesn't give you a call. It just does that push, and there's that when you log in, you just hit agree or deny, and you won't get a call at all, right? So you have the option to use the phone if you want to, or you just have to use it for that initial setup.
Yeah, so that was kind of basically the quick and gritty of Duo there. If you guys don't have any further questions, there were a few other things we wanted to cover with you guys while we had your attention. So just real quick, any other questions about Duo or problem setting it up?
So if we're traveling outside the country and we're using a SIM card from that country, how would we do that?
Well, as long as you have data, it should still work. And I'm glad you brought that up, Stephen. Kind of for the rest of you here, if you guys happen to travel outside the country at any given time, please let your chair know so that we know, because oftentimes, we do get alerts. when someone's logging into a city account outside of the United States. And
Oh yes, I've experienced that.
Right. So yeah, if we don't know, we're gonna lock you out or lock your account and disable it until we hear further. So, or do our own investigation. So to save everyone a little bit of trouble, if you guys are traveling, please let someone know in the cities that we are aware and the dates you're traveling and where you're traveling. So just so that it's noted down somewhere.
Right. Yeah, I've gotten that when I use a VPN for another country
Yeah,
too, even when
that too.
I'm here.
Yeah, if you're using VPNs, right, for your home use or wherever you may be or for work, please make sure you're off of that VPN because we also get those alerts as well. It's just easier to be off of it when you're checking city email and such. And also on top of that, you guys may have also seen an email from React. That's also a valid email. Please go ahead and enroll with it. That will help you change your passwords, make it easier for you guys to do that when you can't get a hold of a staff member at the city. And it's just easier for you to unlock your account and or change passwords if you happen to forget or let it expire. That also is a quick setup, and I believe there's a video that was a link to a video that was attached to it for you to be able to kind of see how that all works as well. And then lastly, most of you, if not many of you, were enrolled in Know Before, which is our security training. Hopefully you guys have at least seen an email once. If you have not, please let us know, but it's something that's also important for you guys to kind of take and kind of be aware of, threats and how our cyber attacks, how fancy and, how complicated they get, and how to kind of look out for things like that to kind of help safeguard your account as well, and the city resources as well. But aside from those things, that's all I had. Any other questions or concerns? I'm here to listen.
I have two questions. So one,
Yes.
you say you want us to notify you when we travel internationally or even within the country?
No, internationally.
Okay, so within the country, you don't need to know, right?
No, you're fine.
Second one, so the two-factor authentication is basically to send a code, 6-digit code, to our mobile numbers and all that stuff, right? Whenever we try to log in. So I understand that part. What's the role of Duo app?
So the Duo app is what's going to be, is what you'll need to be able to. It's not going to be to be able to get the code and or the push that I was telling you about. The push is probably the simplest of the three options you have, just because it's just a simple notification letting you know that to approve or deny your connection. And it's probably also the easier way of doing it, just because, again, if your account happens to get hacked and your Duo app dings and it's asking you to approve a login, right, and it's not you, that's a quick and easy way to know, oh, hey, something's not right, and I should notify the IT department that my account may have been compromised.
Okay.
It's a more visual aid, if anything.
And I think we understand, sometimes this is a lot of information to absorb. So if you ever need assistance in setting this up, let us know. We'll be more than happy to kind of maybe do a remote one-on-one with you to kind of help you do that setup. So, again, let us know. Reach out if you need any assistance, and we'll be happy to help you out.
Okay.
Oh, so instead of the app, they can't just send you a text? That's not secure enough, I guess.
You can do the text, but the nice thing, as Ikram was saying about the app, is so if you do a text, you have to enter in that 6-digit number, right? With the app, you just hit the green button that says approve, or you hit the red button that says deny, right? So it literally potentially shaves a couple.
Well, the reason I like the text is I use my Google Voice number, and then the SMS comes to my computer. I don't need the phone there to do it.
You have two options, right? So when you log in on the web, it'll ask you hey, do you want to push or do you want to text? So you have the option of doing what you want to do.
Wait, and I set that up in Duo, or I set that up on?
I believe Duo itself will.
So Steven, I mean, you'll initially need the app, or actually.
Right, I have the app.
Yeah. But see, if you ask it to send you a passcode, enter a passcode, down here it gives you the ability to text you a code, and that's going to text the code that you register your this Duo with, right? So it's going to send me a code.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. See, so it just sent me a code, and then I'll just
So you're
log
saying
in.
on the, so you're saying on the initial application download, we have a code to download that onto your machine or device that you're using, and then after that, you just use the Duo app. Otherwise, you have to do an authentication each time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And this is all multi-factor authentication for remote access.
Correct. Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I mean the banks already use it. I think more and more accounts out there they're going to be using some sort of multi-factor. So this is just one of the steps to make sure that in terms of overall security that we dot our I's and cross our T's.
Does it reduce our liability as well in terms of insurance or hacking?
Our liability, but what it does is it ensures that we follow best practices. So if something does happen, which we always hope that it doesn't, it does make sure that our liability when they check is like, yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question on that. If I change my password using React, that City sent something that if you really want to change the password, you can use the React. And the React, if you change it, what happens to does it interact with the Duo, or it's completely independent?
The React doesn't know your password, right? It has nothing to do with your password. The password is only for when you sign into Office. That's the piece when you put in your email, it didn't ask you for that City password. Duo is just that second layer of authentication. That's just that physical piece or that app piece. So one has nothing to do with the other.
So it has no correlation to each other, right? That's the
Correct.
point I was trying to make.
Yeah, and just so you know, with React, if you happen to change your password, let's just say you change your password today, you have to wait at least 24 hours to change it again. Just FYI, so you can't just continuously change your password over and over again. It does React and our system. It takes about 24 hours for it to sync up.
All right. I did try the SMS. So it texted it to me. It came to my phone, and it comes to my computer email. So if I don't, I think that it may be defeating the purpose, but it's nice to not always have to have your phone with you to log in.
Right.
All right. Well, we've got a good test case here. If anyone has more questions for Benny and Ikram,
so Benny or Ikram, I would like to set up 15 minutes offline with you guys. So I downloaded the app and I'm trying to set it up, but I don't want to waste people's time. So let's do it offline.
Yeah, sure.
I think once you have the app, it's pretty straightforward. I did it right now. So
Yeah, it takes like 5 minutes or so to do it, if that, really.
Yeah, and again, we'll be happy to help you out.
Cool. If anybody else has anything else, write to Ikram and Benny to get your 15 minutes. I'll probably be signing up as well. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
You guys have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Let's move to the next item, which is approval of minutes. It's our draft minutes of March 16, 2021. Recommended action, approve or modify the draft minutes of March 16, 2021. So take some time and take a look. I have only one request. If someone just spells my last name right somewhere towards the end, it's W-A-N-G, not W-O-N-G, though it sounds like W-O-N-G. That's my only change that I would request. So. Anybody else? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes with said changes?
Sure. I'll make the motion to approve the meetings with the change you noted regarding your last name of W-A-N-G, but pronounced Wong.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so we got a second. Any other comments, questions, changes? All right, honor's yours, Abby. Let's do a vote. And you are, if you can unmute yourself, you'll be good.
Commissioner Saxena,
I think I was marked absent on this, so I abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Kapil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahipatla,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sharf,
Aye.
Chair Wong.
Okay. Motions carries 4-0-0 for the minutes. Let's move to item number 3, draft minutes of March 23rd, 2021. Recommended action, approve or modify the draft minutes of March 23rd, 2021. Anyone with any comments, additions, changes before we make a motion? Okay, do we have a motion to approve? Actually, yeah, is there a motion to approve?
Sure, I'll make the motion to approve those minutes of March
Okay,
23, 2021.
I'll second that.
Do we have a second? Okay, we've got a second. Any discussion? Okay, Abby, floor is yours. We'll do a roll call. Vote. Sorry, vote.
Okay, Commissioner Saxena,
Yes.
Commissioner Kapil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahipatla,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sharf,
Aye.
Chair Wong.
Aye. Okay. Motion carries 5-0-0. And let's move on to oral communications. For those following along, please, this portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter within the jurisdiction of the commission and not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. You'll see a countdown clock. And in most cases, state law will prevent the commission from making any decisions with respect to a matter not on the agenda. So you can raise your hand on Zoom if you know how to do that, and we'll call you from there if you got anything you want to add. Okay. Are there any written matters, Abby?
No.
Okay. No oral communications. We will move on to there's no items on the consent calendar, so we'll go to our first item on public hearings. Item number 4. I'm going to read this. Go ahead.
Can I? So there was an email from somebody on Magical Bridge Playground at Memorial Park. So I'm not sure what's the forum to discuss that. Like, is that considered oral communication?
I thought that was for capital improvement program for one of the items, but I'm not sure. Can we double check?
Didn't say, it was specific to a particular agenda item.
Yeah, I think you're correct, Chair Wong. I think that is related to the agenda item for capital improvement budget.
Okay, so we'll wait until then.
If so, let's wait. If not, we'll read it. From what I can tell, I believe that's what it was. So I will, as chair, designate that comment to be placed into item number 5, which is the CIP program.
Okay.
So we'll do that. Thank you. Okay, number 4. Subject amendment to an existing use permit U-1994-01 to consider allowing a child care use to operate Monday through Friday, 7:50 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. an existing church facility. Application number M-2021-001. Applicants Arkana Napati, Delight Montessori Preschool, location at 6191 Miller Road, with the APN number 375-41007. If you've seen it, it's on the corner of Miller and Bollinger. Recommended action that the Planning Commission adopt the proposed draft resolution to 1, find the proposed actions are exempt from CEQA, and 2, approve the use permit amendment M-2021-001. And the Planning Commission decision is final unless appealed. Let's go to the staff report. What do we have, Pia?
Yes, hi, good evening, Planning Commission. I actually have Erica Poveda, Associate Planner, here to give us the staff presentation on this tonight. So with not much ado, I'll hand it over to Erica.
Welcome, Erica.
Yeah.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. I'm Erica Poveda, Associate Planner with Community Development Department. And tonight I'll be presenting on the amendment to an existing use permit application, file M-2021-001. The project site is located at 6191 Bollinger Road in the Fairgrove neighborhood. The site is surrounded by residential duplex uses to the north and west, shown in orange, Hyde Middle School to the north and east, shown in blue, and single-family residential and commercial uses to the south in the city of San Jose, shown in gray. The property was annexed into the city in 1979 and is zoned as quasi-public building, or BQ. Within the BQ zone, the code allows for religious, civic, childcare, and community service uses. The 2-acre site is owned and operated by West Valley Presbyterian Church and has operated as a church for worship and related activities since the early 1980s. The site consists of 3 separate buildings, a parish hall with an outdoor play area, a classroom and administrative building, and the sanctuary. In 1994, the Planning Commission approved a use permit to construct a 3,000 square foot addition to the existing parish hall. With the use permit, Planning Commission also approved a schedule of on-site activities. A director's minor modification permit was also approved in 1994 to allow the expansion of the existing outdoor play area fronting Bollinger Road. Later in 2009, Planning Commission approved a modification to the use permit to allow for the on-site operation of Mandarin Academy Private School. Mandarin Academy provides care for up to 49 school-aged children and occupies the existing classroom and administrative building and outdoor play area. The school continues to operate Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And due to COVID, the school is currently operating in an online capacity, which is subject to change. Lastly, Planning Commission approved another modification to the use permit in 2010, which allowed for the operation of Haven Christian Preschool. The preschool was approved to provide care for up to 45 children between 2 and 6 years old. And Haven Christian Preschool operated on site from approximately 2010 to 2014 and has since discontinued operations at West Valley Presbyterian Church, which has resulted in the 2010 modification permit M-2010-09 becoming void. The applicant is requesting a new amendment to the existing 1994 use permit to allow for new childcare use to operate at the existing church facility. As mentioned, while the Planning Commission previously approved a similar preschool use on site in 2010, the code does state that if the use for which a conditional use permit was granted and utilized has ceased or has been suspended for 1 year or more, the permit becomes null and void. Therefore, a new permit is required for the proposed childcare facility called Delight Montessori Preschool. The applicant is not proposing any site modifications or tenant improvements as part of the scope of work. Delight Montessori will operate from 7:50 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, with a maximum of 5 employees on site at any given time. The preschool has already obtained approval from the California State Department of Community Care Licensing to provide child care services for up to 24 students, which is less than the previously approved preschool back in 2010. Additionally, the applicant is proposing to limit operations to the same classrooms, office space, and outdoor play area as the 2010 approval. Should the preschool wish to expand or modify the proposed operations in the future, city staff shall review the changes to determine if a planning entitlement will be required. According to the schedule of on-site activities, Delight Montessori will have a similar operational timeframe and may have the most overlap in parking and traffic during drop-off and pickup times as the existing Mandarin Academy private school. Together, these two school-related uses will require 73 total parking spaces Monday through Friday. The property currently has 91 parking stalls on site. However, the 1994 use permit also references a long-term parking agreement with Hyde Middle School for an additional 58 parking spaces, which brings the total of available parking to 149 parking spaces. This is more than sufficient for the Monday through Friday school uses, as well as the Sunday church activities, which requires 125 parking spaces for peak use. The site and proposed uses therefore comply with the regulations set by the parking ordinance. As part of their application, the applicant submitted a traffic management strategy to plan for student drop-off and pickup. The applicant has indicated that parents and guardians will enter the site from the south driveway on Miller Avenue and exit onto Miller using the north driveway. Parents and guardians will be required to park on site and walk their child to the preschool classrooms to sign in or out. The proposed drop-off time for all students is scheduled between 7:50 a.m. and 9 a.m. Pickup for part-time students is 11:45 a.m. to 12:10 p.m. and for full-time students from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Late pickup would be available until 6:30. As a condition of approval, Delight Montessori shall maintain a business plan which informs parents and guardians of the school's traffic management plan strategy and scheduled drop-off or pickup times as part of welcome packets for families. As a note, the Public Works Department reviewed and approved the proposed vehicular circulation plan, which they found to be consistent with the previously approved childcare facility and would not create significant impacts on traffic. During our review, staff became aware of 2 unpermitted storage sheds located within the striped parking spaces to the left of the trash enclosure area. Since there's no record indicating that the sheds were approved to be installed, staff has conditioned the project to remove and/or legalize the sheds prior to final business license approval in order to maintain the permitted number of parking spaces on site. To facilitate proper vehicular circulation, the Public Works Department has also included a condition of approval requiring a right turn only sign to be installed in the area indicated on the site plan prior to business license approval. State law requires childcare facilities to provide 75 square feet of outdoor play area per child, which totals 1,800 square feet for the new preschool. The project exceeds this requirement by providing approximately 3,000 square feet of existing outdoor play area located off the Parish Hall building. The existing play area fronts Bollinger Road is enclosed and substantially screened from the public right-of-way with a retaining wall and shrubs. No changes to the existing outdoor play area are proposed. The outdoor play area is located approximately 300 feet from the nearest residential use, with the existing sanctuary acting as a noise buffer from the residences. The site is located in a developed area with Hyde Middle School to the north and west in blue, and commercial uses to the south in gray. The site is also bounded by arterial streets that tend to have higher noise levels due to higher volume of traffic. Additionally, as indicated in Delight Montessori's business plan, outdoor playtimes would be staggered for the preschool and the existing Mandarin Academy private school. Noise generated by the new use would therefore not exceed existing conditions. Staff finds that the proposed childcare facility will not create adverse traffic, noise, or safety impacts to the surrounding area. Furthermore, the proposed use provides a convenience to the community and serves the general welfare of the public. Staff therefore recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the proposed draft resolution to find that the proposed actions are exempt from CEQA and to approve the use permit amendment. I'm available for questions, and the applicant is also available and has prepared a short presentation that she would like to share. And I have it ready. Now
Thank you, Erica. We'll move to the applicant, and then, of course, after that, we'll go to questions for the commissioner, and then, of course, we'll go to questions to the general public. So go ahead.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, everybody, for being here and being part of this. So to support, help me restart the preschool in Cupertino. So a little bit about Delight Montessori. Delight Montessori was first opened in 2008 in Cupertino on Stevens Boulevard, and we were there for past 12 years. The pandemic, we had to close down. Unfortunately, as a subleaser, I had to move out. But that's when I was looking for another space or location for school in Cupertino. I ended up meeting with WVPC staff, and they were very nice and helpful to go through the full discussion to see whether Mandarin and Delight can combine and run the preschool there. So another reason that I wanted to start in Cupertino is because for last 12 years, I've been serving the community of Cupertino. And during this pandemic, we tried to do some online classes too, so to keep up with students' learning, and would like to have them start in person as soon as possible. Next slide, please, Erica. We always focus on, at Delight Montessori, on the key values, which are Montessori values, basically. Be respectful, be independent, collaborative, and curious. And that's what my values are too. Next slide, please. A little about myself. So as I said before, been having more than 12 years of teaching experience myself, and Montessori certified myself as well. I was raised in India and then came to US in 2001, then finished my credentials in Montessori and also early childhood education, then started working and finally started the school in 2008. And in terms of our team as such, our team, apart from myself, there are 4 teachers, head teachers who are all fully Montessori trained, and each of the teacher individually has more than 10 to 12 plus years of experience in early childhood education. Also, they come from diverse backgrounds, so that brings in nice different ethnicities that are brought in. These are some sample parent testimonials from the parents who were attending Delight before at Stevens Creekside, and later on they also continued for the online classes. So I just put that one. Next slide, please. So, I appreciate the time and effort put in from the planning department and also the other departments during this permit process. Especially thanks to Erica, Brianne, and also PU, because I had tons of questions all the time and I was reaching out to them. And I understand during this pandemic with distance, meetings and all that, they were very cooperative, and, it was quite a process, but we finally made it to this point. So I request Planning Commission to approve the project and let me continue to serve the families from the Cupertino and nearby cities after this hearing commission. And during COVID, we offered online programs as well, and teachers and parents, all of them are ready to come back in person as the vaccination is going on. All the teachers are vaccinated too, so we are ready to start the programs in person again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Archana. So, okay. Anything else from the staff, Erica?
No, that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Well, thank you, applicant. Thank you, staff. Let's turn it over to the commissioners. See if you guys have any questions. I see a hand up for Vice Chair Scharf. So go ahead.
Just a simple question. I wondered why it's called the preschool when it says ages 2 to 6. Wouldn't 6 already be kindergarten?
The name of the LLC is Delight Montessori Preschool, but the license allows us to have kids from 2 to 6. Because some kindergartners do not want to start kindergarten at that age. They want to continue another year with preschool and then they go to public school system.
Oh, so then they would go to first grade directly, is what you're saying.
Right. It depends.
Okay.
It's your choice. Yes.
All right. All right. That's the only question I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vice Chair Scharf. Commissioner Kapil and Commissioner Mudupati.
Yeah, my question is basically the last time when there was a childcare facility here and now there is a pandemic in between. So what at this point is there a prerequisite of children getting vaccinated for getting this permit process, or is there a criteria for pandemic to be included in the permitting process?
I can help answer that. At this point, I believe that vaccinations are only allowed for children aged 12 and 17. And so children below the age of 12 are not able to get vaccinated. However, I believe the county does have protocols in place for COVID protocols in place for pickup, drop off, and other activities. So that is already being handled by the county health department.
My point is that if this childcare gets started operating, what is the guideline for ensuring the safety of those children which are going to attend this childcare facility? Basically, I mean, is there a, because in the presentation there was no mention of any kind of a related to pandemic or to this COVID. There was no mention of what precautions or what safety guidelines have been included in the childcare setting.
I don't know if that, and I want to double check with Seth, is that within our purview in the Planning Commission to address those issues?
Well, it sounds like the applicant is prepared to answer the question. I think it's a fair question to ask. I'm not sure it would be grounds to deny the project, given that there is a protocol that allows children to return to school. But why don't we have the applicant answer the question?
Okay.
So childcare, first of all, comes under essential services. So it was never stopped even during the pandemic. Just for the first 1.5 months, they had said that it should be shut down. But later on, all the childcare centers were open during the pandemic as well. And in terms of the safety protocols from Delight Montessori School, with the social services department, when I got the license from community care licensing, we had a big meeting and we have this big protocols list that I had to show and present, and that after that only I got the license. So there are a lot of different things that the school would be providing and doing in terms of taking temperatures at all the time with touchless thermometers, teachers wearing the masks and even face shields as needed at all the time. And plus there will be a lot of other cleaning will be involved in terms of hygiene protocols. So there will be cleaning thrice a day at different times of the schedules, and that part will be taken care of. And that was all discussed with the licensing agent before I got the license.
Any more questions, Commissioner Kapil?
No. I mean, if licensing has taken care of the safety guidelines for children, they are responsible people, and I hope they will be held responsible if there is a violation of any safety or any incident related to the spread of the disease.
Okay, Commissioner Mahipatla.
So I have a few questions. Most of them are to the staff and one to the applicant. So to the staff, so are there any notification requirements of this change? Do we have to notify surrounding residents?
Yes, the project was required to adhere to our administrative code chapter, which does outline the notification requirements. And to this point, I have not received any comments about the project.
Okay, so no comments. And since that property is, on the border of San Jose and Cupertino, does the notification requirements apply to even the residents on the San Jose side, if they are within the 500 feet?
Sure.
I'm just trying to understand, is the notification only for Cupertino residents, or does it also include a San Jose residents?
So as one portion of the notification process, the applicant was required to post a notice sign on site. So that would be visible to the right of way. So whether the residents were in Cupertino or San Jose, they would be welcome to comment on the project.
Oh, so we don't have to send, city doesn't have to send any written mail saying, hey, this change is occurring and, be notified kind of thing. There is Are there such requirements or no?
Yes, there are, and we do have the ability to generate mailing labels for residents outside of the city of Cupertino as well.
Okay, so are we required to do that, or are you saying we could do that?
No, we do. I mean, when it depends on what the radius is. If it does hit residences within, depending on what the radius is, if it does hit residences within that mailing radius, we usually do mail it out.
Okay, yeah, because in the map that you showed, the closest house was on the Miller's corner, 300 feet, and I got to believe the house that's diagonally across the church would be within 500 feet as well, right?
So for this project, there were 36 notices mailed out to property owners.
Okay, and that includes homes in San Jose, I presume.
I can check on that for you.
Okay. What's the expected traffic from this change, right? Because the traffic is going to be during busy hours. It's not like the church traffic. So do we have an idea of how many cars in and out we are expecting total?
So this project was not required to go through a traffic trip generation study. It was determined by the Public Works Department that the proposed childcare facility would operate similarly and in the same classrooms as the previously approved childcare facility in 2010. But as previously mentioned, the maximum number of children would be 24.
Okay, so potentially there are 24 roughly entry and exits in a day.
Yes, maximum.
And cars exiting the lot, right? I understand they're entering from the right, closer to the church, and then exiting further away from the church. So I also saw that you said it's a right turn only sign. There's going to be a sign that says right turn only. Is that right?
I can share that one more time.
I believe the eastern entrance would exit up north and then out to the west.
I thought the right turn only sign was inside the parking lot.
Inside the parking lot.
Yes, so unfortunately they are on different sides. So this is where the entrance would be, and then they would exit onto Miller there. And the right turn only.
Where they exit to the Miller, are they allowed to make right or left, both?
I believe that they are able to.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
That's a busy street, right? So I'm just a little bit concerned, like, traffic, somebody, blocking the street and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah, I think those are my questions. So thank you. And so to the applicant, so in your presentation, I saw something about, you are operating this until 2008 and then you're restarting again. I'm a little bit confused, right? So can you light on that? What is it, you were doing until 2008 and then restarting now?
Yes, no, I started in 2008 and I was operating all the way until March of 2020, until the pandemic hit.
At the same location or somewhere else?
Somewhere else, in Cupertino, on Stevens Creek.
No, but somewhere else. Now, you're moving to this location. So you're closing the other location, or no? Are you going to operate two locations?
No, we closed that operation.
Okay, thank you. Good, thank you. I'm done with my questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Saxena, questions on your end?
Chair Wong, if I may.
I think all my questions have already been asked.
Okay, back to you. Pew, go ahead. Sorry about that.
I was just going to confirm that the properties in San Jose were also noticed about this project.
Pew, real quick question. Those are just shopping centers on the other side, right? Within 500 feet. Are there actually residents on the other side?
Not on the shopping center side, but across the street on the other side, the southwest corner, there were residents that were hit.
Yes. Okay, that's within 500 feet. Okay, got it. On Miller and Bollinger. Got it.
Yeah, the diagonally opposite to church, that corner house. So I know the person that lives in that house. So I'm sure now you will be in that notification list.
Got it. Yep. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. I have a few questions. It's pertaining to the shed. Just curious on that. So What's current to the applicant? What's currently in the shed at the moment? Is it just storage stuff for you, or is it storage stuff for West Valley Presbyterian Church?
So to answer that question, actually, West Valley Presbyterian Church had another church called Honorary Church, and they were on site, but they moved out. And when they moved out, they actually moved out their shades as well. The shades were used by them.
Ah, got it. Makes sense. And then a question to the staff. In terms of the flow in the parking lot, is it designed to actually, are we keeping the existing parking lot the way it is with the circular flow back in terms of a counterclockwise position for the guest parking?
Yes, there will be no changes to the site or the parking.
Okay, so you're keeping that same flow. Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Let's see what the public has. So I will move this on to the public. So anybody has a question? You've got 3 minutes. Raise your hand. I see we have one. I apologize if I butchered the name. Chatali. So please, you've got 3 minutes. Please join us and unmute yourself. Oh, let's see. You are unmute, but we can't hear you. Let's see if you can try again. Okay, I don't hear you, but we're going to move to Rada, and if we get you back on, we'll do that, and then we'll move to, I see Frank Lemon with a hand raised. So let's go to Rada. Rada, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, am I audible?
We can hear you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, thank you so much. So my daughter has been part of Delight Montessori when she turned 2. She's been with Delight Montessori, and she has in fact been part of one transition, one lower class and one upper class when she turned 3.5. So we were immensely satisfied with the coaching, with the way they handle their kids, and the kids are pretty comfortable. When I used to come there when it was in person before the pandemic, I used to see how the kids are excited to be part of Delight Montessori. Every morning, my child used to ask, "When are we going? Is it time for school?" She used to wake up excited. And after the pandemic, also I see that when they started online classes, the teacher was extremely focused, and she was able to control the class. And I was amazed to see how 3 or 4-year-old kids were able to be in front of the screen and listen and absorb what the teacher was saying. So that for me was a big positive to see how the kids are adapting to this change. And I think that is a big plus in the way that Delight has handled this. I think.
Okay.
So
anything else you want to add? Sorry, you cut out.
Sorry, yeah. So I think this is definitely going to be a value addition to the city. As part of my experience.
Okay, Rada, thank you for joining in.
Sure.
We've got a hand raised for, I think it was Frank Lemon before, and then Jeff Stamish, and then the one of you, Jeff.
Hi, yeah, I'm the president of West Valley because we're a corporation. Our church is for legal purposes, but anyway, I'm the president, and we really look forward to this. We really think there's a lot of potential synergy for our church and also the community, and we're really looking forward to this. We really are. That's all I got to say.
Well, Jeff, thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. We'll move to Frank Lemon.
Hi, Commissioners. I'm Frank Lemon. I'm a long-term member of West Valley Presbyterian Church. I'm also the longtime IT manager at the church facility. It's been my pleasure to work with Archana as she's had opportunity to talk with me about getting internet service for the school. Found them to be very professional, and we're pleased to work with them. But I want to also clarify for the Commission that the 2 sheds that were identified and a concern have been removed. They're no longer there. And so that's no longer an issue. The right-hand only sign has been installed, and the concerns have been addressed. So our church looks forward to having the school on site, and we believe it will offer a great service to the community.
Thank you, Frank, for your comments. I personally did drive by there yesterday. Yes, I did yesterday, and did verify. I can verify that as well. So thank you. We've got a comment from the public. Chaitali. We'll try again. So
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Welcome.
Thank God. Sorry about earlier. So my name is Chaitali, and I have a 6-year-old who went into Delight for about 2.5 years. And he had an extremely enriching experience over there. We had actually transitioned him to a few schools before we ended up sending him to Delight. And as a result, he'd been quite unsettled. But the teachers over there were extremely calm and composed in handling him. And I think he benefited a great deal by joining Delight. They've also given him a lot of enriching experience, like a trip to NASA. And when he went to one of the higher classrooms, they also took them to watch a play, which I think is incredible for children that young to give them so much exposure of that kind. We never really think of things like that, but they have thought of such things. And the other big thing that I noticed is when the pandemic started and they had to go online, uh, it was like magic. The minute they announced that schools were closing, the very next day on Monday, Ms. Archana's staff started online schooling, and the teacher was amazing. She was able to keep all the children in control, keep them interested. She was extremely prepared. They never had a dull moment. They were extremely good at sending out emails to have us pick up stuff so the kids could do their project work at home with the stuff that the school provided. And I think they did a better job than the elementary school my son is in right now. That I think is a huge deal to keep kids that young engaged and interested all the time. So we are actually planning on sending our second one over there also. And we are really looking forward to Ms. Archana being able to open this location so we can have our second son benefit the same kind of education that our first one got. So I would really, really request you all to consider this a great opportunity for all the students over there who will benefit from this school. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaitali. Okay. I don't see any other hands raised. And with that, I'm going to move back to the Planning Commission. So commissioners, see if you have any other questions, any other items, and if there are any other questions before anyone wants to make a motion as well.
I can make a motion to approve the request.
Okay, and it comes in two parts. One, find that the proposed actions are exempt from CEQA, and two, approve the use permit amendment.
Chair, if I may just interject here as a reminder, we talked last time about going forward, just having motions proposed that the project be approved as proposed in the draft resolution. Does that sound right?
Correct.
To you?
That
Okay.
sounds right. Yep.
That way we don't miss anything important in there or miss anything. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Sure, I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion, debate? We have a motion on the table.
I think.
Have any questions? Any other comments?
I think this is a good addition to the community to have such services locally available, right? So I think we should.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's good to have the services available, and the fact that we are reusing existing space, which is not used during weekdays, it's increasing the space utilization. I think land in general is a short supply in the US, and I would encourage the city to support more of these weekend, like double use weekend versus weekdays kind of projects, so that we can utilize the land we have and provide space for more such services and people and enrich the community.
Okay, Commissioner Munipatla, I think you were trying to finish something, or were you done?
No,
sorry.
Yeah. I would just.
Okay, good.
Good project, and we should approve it. So.
Okay, all right. All right, Commissioner Kapil, any comments?
No, it's a good thing. Only concern was a little bit of a safety at this time because of the limit. That's all. I think they are taking care. So.
Okay, we'll go to the Vice Chair.
Nothing.
Vice Chair Scharf.
Nothing. Thank you.
Excellent. I would agree with my fellow commissioners. I think it's important. I think it's a very important service in our neighborhood. It's very important as well, given that we have many two-income families that need daycare and childcare facilities along the way. So I think it's a great use of land, as Commissioner Saxena mentioned. But I also think it's important to support our businesses, especially those that are, that are essential services for our residents and for the community. So I'm in favor of this, and let's put this to a vote. Abby, please do the honors.
Ms. Saxena,
Yes.
Commissioner Kapil,
Yes.
Commissioner Matipatla,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sharf,
Yes.
Chair Wong.
Aye. Do we miss Commissioner Saxena? Or we got?
I went first.
Okay, you went first. Cool. Just making sure. All right, motion carries 5-0-0. It is approved. Congratulations, Archana, and to the West Valley Presbyterian Church. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Planning Commission, all the other members, and of course, our wonderful parents and WVPC staff. Thank you so much.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
So, okay, good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We've been going on for an hour. I think we're okay. I'll set up the next break if it's going to be around 8:30. Should we go past that? Just so everybody knows. Our next item then is the capital improvement plan, subject number 5. Item number 5, review the 1-year capital improvement plan, fiscal year 2021 to 2022, report for consistency to the city's general plan. Our recommended action that the Planning Commission adopt the draft resolution, attachment 1, to find that the fiscal year 2021 to 2022 CIP is consistent with the city's general plan, and that this consistency determination is exempt from CEQA. Let's turn it over to the staff.
Yes,
Pew.
thank you. Good evening. Once again, I am going to very happily transfer the reins to Roger Lee, Director of Public Works, who will take us through this item with Susan Michael, who's our capital improvement projects manager.
All right. Good evening, Chair. Yes, good evening, Chair Wong, Vice Chair Sharf, and all commissioners. I'm Roger Lee, Director of Public Works. It made me smile, Chair Wong, when you first introduced me to speak about the dual factor authentication, because I would not be the person to talk to about that at all. Yeah, no, we had the experts there, so it worked out. So as Pew mentioned, I am Roger Lee, Director of Public Works. Thank you for providing time on your agenda this evening for us to present the proposed 1-year capital improvement projects for this commission consideration for general plan conformance. The recommended action is for the Planning Commission to adopt a draft resolution to find FY 21-22 capital improvement program consistent with the city's general plan, and as Chair Wong mentioned, that you find this consistent determination is exempt from CEQA. So prior to handing the presentation off, I would like to introduce to the Commission Susan Michael. And Susan is our capital improvement program manager. She's been with the city just since last October. So she wasn't here for last year's cycle when we did this back in June in a special study, in a special session, some of you may recall. And we're very fortunate to have an individual with her experience and background. Susan is a licensed architect with over 20 years of experience, and she has been the lead project manager for our largest CIP project, the library expansion project. I'm sure some of you are seeing the fine progress being made over there. As Susan presents the 16 proposed projects, she will have 2 slides for each project. The first slide is a brief narrative of the project, and the second slide is how the project conforms with the general plan goals. As you may have questions about these projects, please consider that the purpose of this item is specific to general plan conformance and not unrelated details about a project. These projects were presented to City Council on May 4th in a study session and will be considered again by City Council on June 15th. So through thorough review of the general plan, all proposed projects support and conform with the goals of the general plan. So thank you for letting me make this introduction. Susan, why don't you start your presentation?
Thank you, Director Lee. Thank you, commissioners and chair and members of the public for having us here tonight. Attempt to share my screen. There we go. So we are here to present the fiscal year 21-22 CIP projects for your consideration of their conformance to the general plan. If I can get this to work. Before I jump into the meat of the presentation, I would like to just mention that there is a CIP dashboard that you can get to if you go to our city's website and you navigate to Public Works. Then you'll see CIP on the left side of the page, and you'll see a link to an interactive dashboard. And there we have information on all the active projects that we do regularly update. And it should be a good starting point, if nothing else, to get to know our projects in our division. And so tonight's agenda for this part of the evening, anyway, is to review the proposed new CIP projects. And they will break into 3 sections: the mobility, infrastructure, and environmental, and then Parks, Rec, and community service sections. And then we'll end with comments. And I do have a lot of slides, so I'm going to run through them quickly and try and keep your evening brief, but we can come back to any questions that you may have. So the general plan includes the goals stated here on this page, that the city's infrastructure will be upgraded and enhanced through the capital improvement program, and that the CIP is reviewed by planning to conform that it meets the goals and policies identified in Community Vision 2040 and the general plan. Thus, we are here tonight to present the proposed new projects and illustrate that conformance for your consideration. There are 16 new projects. They break into 3 categories. There are 5 bike, ped, and street improvement projects that align with the mobility goals and policies. There are 5 facilities and infrastructure projects that align with the infrastructure and environmental resources goals, and 6 parks and recreation projects that speak to that section of the general plan directly. With that, we will begin with the projects that address the mobility goals. The first 5 projects are transportation projects that conform to the mobility goals and policies of general plan. As the staff report noted, these are projects that improve the safety and function of the city's primary circulation system, manage neighborhood traffic, decrease reliance on the usage of private cars, promote pedestrian activity, and provide safe routes to schools. The first project is the Carmen Road Bicycle and Pedestrian Bridge right-of-way. This bridge is a Tier 1 priority in the 2018 Pedestrian Transportation Plan and a Tier 2 priority in the 2016 Bicycle Transportation Plan. This project has support from the Bicycle Pedestrian Commission and many members of the community. Once built, this project will fill a gap in the bike-ped network resulting from the bisection of the neighborhood by Stevens Creek Boulevard. For this project, only right-of-way acquisition is being requested at this time. The aim is to acquire the property if the property owner is amenable. Future year project requests would include the design and construction of the bridge. So the second slide on Carmen Road Bridge is the goals. So as a side note, I'm going to refrain from reading all of the goals and policies listed for each project. The 5 projects in this section have nearly the same goals listed for each project. In general, they are to promote improvements to the streets for all transportation modes and persons of all abilities, support a safe bike and ped street network, ensure safe bike and ped access to schools, develop a transportation plan for the city that includes all transportation modes, and ensure that the city's rights of way are planned for transportation alternatives, including pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicular. This project supports the mobility goals and policies of the general plan by providing a safe conduit for bicyclists and pedestrians to traverse Stevens Creek Boulevard and connecting the neighborhoods on either side of the vehicular artery. So the next project is the Stelling and Alves crosswalk installation. This intersection is adjacent to the Quinlan Community Center, and this project is one of the few remaining Tier 1 projects in the 2018 Cupertino Pedestrian Transportation Plan. This scope removes the pedestrian crossing conflicts with left-turning cars by potentially moving the existing crosswalk to the north and improves bicycle crossings as well. This project also supports mobility goals and policies of the general plan by improving the pedestrian and vehicular safety of this well-used intersection. So Stevens Creek Boulevard, Class 4 bikeway, Phase 2 construction. There's a lot there. The 2016 Bicycle Transportation Plan identifies improvements needed and priorities to enhance and promote safer bicycle transportation in the city. The number one priority of the plan was to provide a separated Class 4 bicycle lane on Stevens Creek Boulevard. This project is the second phase to address that. The first phase was from Wolf to Tentau and has been completed. The project will be constructed in phases, with Wolf to De Anza segment being constructed first with this project. As Cupertino's major thoroughfare separating bike traffic from vehicular traffic is an important goal of the bike and ped plans. These improvements conform to the mobility goals by furthering the network of bike and ped pathways, improving the safety of this route, and integrating the bikeway with the existing streets.
Hi, Susan. Quick question on these. We're just checking on conformance with general plan, right? So if I had a specific question about the project, is it still germane?
It can be, yes. Yes. I mean, we'll answer our
Are there
questions that you have about the
expiration
project.
dates?
Expiration dates.
Are there
How do you mean?
expiration dates for these kind of things? Like for Class 4 bike lanes, like when someone comes back and reevaluates like how they're doing? Because I see so many drivers bump into the curbs. I'm not sure how the bikers are feeling. So like if they're happy with it as well. So.
Actually, I'm not sure how to address that because I'd have to understand a little bit more what you mean by expiration dates.
I mean, do the bike lanes, are they permanent, or is there a time where they get revoked or renewed at some point?
They're permanent. Yeah, we actually.
There are no expiration dates on any of these. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. The Class 4 bikeway is a separated bikeway, so we're installing the islands, and it's a permanent. Definitely, some of the islands are cast in place, some of them are pre-made, but definitely permanent. That's safer, actually. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So the traffic garden is a proposal. This was to do a feasibility study for a traffic garden, and traffic garden is a miniature streetscape used for bike and ped education. And this is a very engaging tool that's in line with the city's Safe Routes to School program and the city's general plan. This traffic garden concept has wide support in the Cupertino school community, as well as regional interest among our neighboring jurisdictions. By providing this resource to educate people of all ages, especially school-aged children, this supports the mobility goals of the general plan by increasing the awareness and safety for all users of our streets and pathways. And Homestead De Anza construction. This is a signal. This project will modify the traffic signals at this intersection. The goal of the work is to improve safety at the intersection by enhancing the visibility of the northbound and southbound signal indications. Design phase is an existing CIP project, and we previously received a Highway Safety Improvement Program grant for the design phase of this project. So the design is underway, and we're asking for construction funding. The signal improvements at this intersection will increase the safety of the existing transportation network.
So is this shared with Sunnyvale? Because this is on the, right, isn't Homestead De Anza right on the border with Sunnyvale Saratoga Road, right?
Yeah, but we go up maybe less than 100 yards to the north of Homestead, so the intersection is all ours.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, thank you.
So we can advance to the next section, which is infrastructure and environmental projects.
Before we do that real quick, I think given that it's fresh in the heads, I just want to see if the commissioners have any questions with the items in the last section.
Yeah, I have a question on the Class 4. So what is the difference between the normal bike lane and the Class 4 bike lane? Like as you were mentioning in couple of slides that you're building between Wolf and Stevens Creek Class 4 bike lane. I do see that personally I bike, so I do see a bike lane existing out there between Wolf and Diaza, but I'm just wondering what is the difference between the class 4 and this one?
I'll let
I
Roger
can,
take that one.
yeah, I can answer that one. So a class 4, it's physically separated with a barrier. So that's what a class 4 means. And so of course you might want to wonder what a class 1, 2, and 3 are. Class 1 is like what we're building on, similar to what we're building on Rignard Creek Trail. It's a dedicated, lane for only bikes and pets. That's a class 1. A class 2 is like just a painted with no barriers, and a class 3 is where you have like sharrows where you're just sharing the road with a car.
I see. Is it wider as well compared to class 2, as you said?
I think they all have to be at least 6 foot minimum, clear width, but don't quote me on that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds right.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, let's move on.
All right. So the next 5 projects. The next 5 proposed projects are facilities and infrastructure projects. These maintain the usability and/or expand the capacity, performance, and efficiency of the city's public infrastructure and facilities. It is noteworthy that one of the current CIP projects is to hire a consultant energy firm to perform an audit of our existing facilities and make suggestions for improvements in efficiency, resiliency, and longevity. The information gained from that project will inform the facilities and infrastructure project proposed for fiscal year 2022. I'm very excited about that. The first project that we will review is the City Hall and Community Hall improvements, programming and feasibility. So this first year would be basically the planning stage. We go through and do programming, feasibility, and community outreach in this first year. And then in next years, we would ask for money to do a full-on design and construction of the project. So for this, for the City Hall, structural, mechanical, and other code-related modifications are needed to meet current building standards. It's also noteworthy that the existing building does not meet current or projected needs for office space, nor the structural or seismic bracing requirements of the Emergency Operations Center housed in the building. So at Community Hall, the use of the building could be maximized with a separate addition of conference space and remodeled kitchen space to better facilitate group meeting functions. So the goal of this project is to bring the existing building into compliance with building, energy, Cal Green, HVAC, and especially structural codes. As previously mentioned, we will be referencing life cycle costing and facility audits to inform the design decisions made on this project. The goals for the infrastructure projects, for which this is the first one, are upgrades existing city assets with more energy efficient technologies, align projects with Cal Green tenants, size the city's infrastructure to meet current and future needs while being fiscally responsible. So as for this particular project, strategy HS, health and safety, 2.2.1 specifically states, and it's right in the middle of the page, review options to provide functional and seismic upgrades to the EOC facility at City Hall or explore alternative locations for the EOC. So that is definitely a part of this project. (10455) Torrey Avenue. We recently acquired the property at this location. It's on the corner of Torrey and Pacifica. The proposal is to define the program for an interim city hall in this location and take the project through to construction. In the process, we aim to develop a flexible space that can accommodate suitable alternative uses once City Hall is renovated. So similar to City Hall, this project will be employing data gathered from the Sustainable Infrastructure Project to inform the design decisions. One of the project goals will be to implement new energy systems that suit the immediate and future needs. So the third project is the electric vehicle parking expansion. This project proposes to expand the city's existing level 2 charging ports from 12 ports to 32 ports. In addition, install 5 level 3, which is fast charging ports. All the charging ports would be available for public use, and this scope of work would upgrade the existing locations to meet industry benchmarks. But the proposals also stay within the capacity of our existing electrical infrastructure. So just for reference, there are 4 ports at the library, 2 at City Hall, 4 at Quinlan, and there'll be 1 new at Sports Center. And the new ports would be dispersed between those locations. So this project directly addresses more of the environmental resources goals and policies than many of the other projects in this section. By increasing the number of electric vehicle parking spaces and upgrading the charging ports, we are further reducing fossil fuel use, increasing efficiency, and making it possible to better support the growth of our own electric vehicle city fleets. And the next project is our city lighting LED transition assessments. This will address the need to convert our streetlights to not only LED, but also to LED that meets the Dark Sky Initiative. Our assets include over 2,500 streetlights of varying ages and conditions. So the first step will be to assess the state of the assets and develop a strategy for implementation. This project also directly aligns with the environmental resources goal to provide more efficient and sustainable infrastructure. The last project in this section is the Pumpkin and Fiesta Storm Drain Project, Phase 1 and 2. So the 2018 Storm Drain Master Plan evaluated the city's storm drainage system and identified areas subject to flooding during a 10-year storm. The plan also identified and prioritized projects to mitigate potential for flooding in areas of deficiency. This project will receive the highest priority, and actually Phase 1 will be constructed as part of this project. This infrastructure project will improve the storm drain capacity in the area, reducing concerns of flooding and improving the efficiency of the overall system. So that's on this section. Are there any questions on those projects?
Yeah, I have a question. When you say that for electrical vehicle, you have chosen a site to provide the charging ports. What is the criteria? Because on one hand, you're kind of providing the ports and dedicated parking for those. At the same time, you are taking away the parking space for the other vehicles. So I just want to understand clearly that how did you come up with the number at a different site, that how many ports needs to be installed and how many dedicated parking spaces needs to be allocated for it?
Well, that is a good question. Actually, I haven't been part of the direct process, so I'd have to get back to you on what the process was to come up with it. I know, for example, this was brought up since I'm on the library project, that the parking at the library for the library is critical. And then we also have a civic center parking analysis and certain mitigation measures that we're trying to implement as part of CIP to alleviate the parking crunch in normal times. So I understand that's a real concern. Yeah, we would any kind of change would be, we'd have the parking analysis, so it wouldn't be irresponsible.
Just another question is that this 1045 Torre Avenue improvement, is this property owned by the city or is that a leased property?
It is newly acquired. We do own the property now.
I see. Okay.
Mr. Matipatla, I think you got a question. Thanks
Yeah,
for raising your hand.
so I have a few questions, right? So on the expanding electric charges for 200K, I have a few questions, right? Do we know the usage and occupancy level on the existing ports?
There has an analysis of that, actually, but I don't have it at handy to know.
And I want to understand, how that compares to other commercial locations, where these are installed. I'm personally in favor of, electric chargers everywhere, so long as, they don't contribute any new problems, right? But this one is a wastage of, parking spot, especially on the library, where a lot of people, I see it all the time. When I go to library, a lot of people come and go, and temporary parking and get out, and these spaces are being left open because they're reserved for car charging, and I think we are wasting parking spots in a precious place where it's needed. That's just my view on this proposal.
I will say that we did have on I think on the previous CIP study session with the city council, we did have a similar comment about that the parking in the library area is precious. And we need to be very smart about that.
Yep. And these spaces are always empty. I go there and look around, and I can't park anywhere, and these are empty.
Yes. We'll definitely have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, no, I would definitely do that. You probably want to do an assessment to see what type of electric vehicles Cupertino residents have. I think it's overwhelmingly Teslas and not these other chargers, but there's still need for these. Vice Chair Scharf, please go ahead.
Oh, I was going to comment on the electric vehicle charging as well. I just read an article, I don't remember where it was. It was talking about the adoption of electric cars, and it said that the owners really want chargers to be available in public places, but they actually don't use them because the cost for charging at these chargers far exceeds what it costs to charge at home. And when you have a Tesla or another car with a similar range, you would very rarely use a public charger, except if you're on a long trip going, somewhere down I-5, you might stop at Harris Ranch. But so I do question the need for putting in more chargers at the library, where it's actually a short trip for most of the people that would be driving there. Yeah, so a usage analysis would be great. I see the same thing, pre-COVID at the library, the chargers were just not being used. Occasionally you saw an older electric car with really short range, like a Nissan Leaf, using the chargers. But other than that, it was pretty rare because nobody wants to pay those high per kilowatt hour charges when they can just charge at home much more economically. Thank you.
I had electric car for 7 years, never charged anywhere in public, but I want the insurance policy of being able to charge whenever I want, right? It's a luxury that I would prefer everywhere to be there, but I never use it.
Are you trying to be poster child for that comment?
Yeah, I mean that's basically the thing, is everybody wants it, but they're not used very much.
No, but it might make more sense for other destination areas where you might actually be there much longer as well. So I think typically the charging strategy is to, not that we're in charge of this, but the charging strategy is to place in places like malls or restaurants or places where you'll be there for like 2 to 3 hours. So.
And also, distribute them. Like, we want, 1 or 2 everywhere, in every shopping complex, so that people have the flexibility to go and charge. But going overboard in a place where, the parking is at premium at our library, I would go in the opposite direction.
Okay. Any other comments from the commissioners in this section? Okay, let's move on.
Just
go ahead.
One more question about the city this lighting, LED lighting poles. Is that existing replacement, or is that kind of planning to put more poles with a LED lighting. And of course, I would assume that you have assessed the lumens or whatever the brightness of that particular lighting is really sufficient for the area. So the main question is that, is this a replacement or is that a new plan for a new installation also?
Director Lee can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's for replacement. That would be the initial strategy. They're going to be maybe when we do the assessment, there might be some obvious gaps that we might address, but the general purpose is to address replacement of the existing facilities.
Yeah, that's correct. After the assessment is done, our streetlight network is induction, predominantly induction lighting that cannot be dimmed. You can change, the color. We do have a fair amount of LED lights in our parking lots and on our trails, so there may be some adjustments that can be made there. But this is an assessment that will lead up to a replacement.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next section.
The Recreation, Parks, and Community Service section. The remaining 6 projects are Parks and Rec system projects that maintain the usability of the city's parks and recreation inventory. Maintaining and promoting the natural habitats in Cupertino is a significant focus of the existing proposed CIP project. The first project is Memorial Park Pond repurposing. The city drained the inoperable ponds in 2013 and has not refilled them since. There was significant waste of water and the degradation of the pond's concrete liner. Reconstruction of the ponds is not cost effective, and empty ponds pose a potential safety hazard. This project would remove the ponds and prepare the site for future development as identified in the Parks and Recreation System Master Plan. And design studies were already completed in 2018 for Memorial Park. So this would be basically the 61,000 square feet of removal of concrete and other features that form the ponds, and then putting back dirt and probably sod, the simplest landscaping in service of a future work on the Memorial Park Master Plan, which is another project here listed tonight. So the 6 projects in this section further the general plan goals of creating a full range of park and recreational facilities for a variety of recreational activities for all ages and abilities, utilizing the natural features of the area wherever possible, and providing high quality community facilities that meet the needs of the community now and for generations to come. This project will return a large area of Memorial Park back to usable parkland. The next project in this section is the Memorial Park Amphitheater improvements. Improvements to the amphitheater are one of the immediate goals from Memorial Park outlined in the Parks and Recreation System Master Plan adopted by Council. The scope will include a shade structure for the stage, electrical and audio improvements to the infrastructure, moving the path and waterway out of the immediate stage area, improvements to the adjacent restaurant, and improvements to the adjacent restrooms to accommodate the assembly use. This would enhance the outdoor event space, making some much needed functional improvements, especially important for the cultural events that happen in this space. On this photo, you're standing on the stage and you can see the path goes right in front of the seating area. So we want to improve that. The amphitheater is a well-used community resource. This project will greatly increase the functionality of the venue to better serve the community and events that are held there. So Memorial Park specific plan. This park, which you know is the largest park in our network, was designed and built in the 1970s and is due for a conceptual as well as functional upgrade. As the largest park in our system, the master plan gave this a high degree of priority The proposed project would include the development of a conceptual design for phase 1, incorporating findings from the master plan process and building upon the considerable input gained from the community in that process. During the master plan process and the design studies that were a part of the process, we have a good deal of community input. We hope to build on this for the design of phase 1. As one of the highest priorities in the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, this project will upgrade the park's facilities, improve the natural features of the environment, and allow a larger part of the community to take part in the use of the park by increasing accessible features throughout. The next project is Blackberry Farm pools improvements. Get my plurals right. For multiple years, the 2 pools at Blackberry Farm have displayed all the signs that are indicative of the need to replaster a pool, including mineral stains, peeling of surface, and a rough surface area. The rough surface has been the cause of several injuries, including a workman's comp claim. The replastering of the pools was last performed in 2009. This maintenance scope, as well as the sanitary and accessibility corrections required by a 2020 permit application process, are required to continue operations of the facility beyond the 2021 aquatic season. It is definitely a health and safety related. The pools facility provides a great recreational outlet for our community. This project maintains the existing pools as is required and improves the accessibility of the facility. The next project is a full-sized outdoor basketball court. So currently there's no full-size basketball court owned by the city. The Parks and Recreation System Master Plan recommends developing 1 or 2 basketball courts as a short-term goal, and full-size is the priority. Once a location is identified, we hope to be able to complete design and construction of a full-size court in fiscal year 2021. This fiscal year, let's say fiscal year 2021-2022. This project increases the recreational opportunities provided within our parks and recreation. It was one of the most requested features in the master plan community outreach process. So I believe this is the last project. The tree inventory at Stevens Creek Corridor. So tree inventory has not been done for some portions of the Stevens Creek Corridor since 1995, and other portions have never been inventoried. Some of the largest and oldest trees in the city are along Stevens Creek. The majority of the trees along the creek banks, including large numbers of very large native trees, have not been systematically mapped, identified, nor logged in the GIS system. I thought it was interesting to note that this is a health and safety concern, since we need to identify trees that are in danger of falling down. It is also in keeping with the #1 goal of the Parks and Recreation System Master Plan, which mirrors the general plan. That from the Parks and Rec plan, it says, protect nature, trees, and natural areas in parks and throughout the city to support wildlife, ecological functions, and a stronger connection to Cupertino's natural environment. So this project aligns with the general plan in that it allows the city to integrate these assets into our inventory of documented and maintained trees. It will promote the future development of the natural resources in this area. And so a quick summary is that these 16 projects, we believe they do conform to the goals and policies of the general plan. Specifically, these projects address mobility, environmental resources, infrastructure, and parks and recreation and community services aspects of the general plan. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. All right, great. Any other questions from the commission on that last section before we turn it to the public?
I have a question on what is the criteria of selection of the parks to be renovated or to be considered for this for your project? Because I do see that Memorial Park has been 3 projects under it. I mean, it's like a pond removal, amphitheater improvements, and the lot of beautification around it. I mean, my basic question is that we have quite a few parks in the city, and what is the criteria to focus the funds and resources on one specific park versus the other?
In this case, Memorial Park was specifically targeted in the 2018 Parks and Recreation Master Plan, and they noted that it's a large resource for the city with many different recreational activities, and we are taking our clues from that. There was so much work that went into that master plan and so much community input that the analysis and the priorities that are established there are our marching orders. So that we have worked very closely with Parks and Recreation to develop which projects are at the priorities. And the pond, for example, was very obvious because it's a bit of a hazard as the way it is. So that needs to be addressed. The amphitheater is very well used and it is lacking in resources. I haven't gone through all the bathrooms that are surrounding Memorial Park, but I know that at least 2 banks of them don't have any accessible fixtures in them, for example. So there's certain things that basic level of things that we're trying to address in order to make those 2 projects explicitly, they have priority just because of their lacking of the features. And the master plan is similar in that it is such a large facility, has not been effectively upgraded since the 70s, which is 50 years ago. So there were some obvious projects that were cited in that master plan to address that.
I was just wondering that, is there any kind of a visitation count or a foot count or something, a criteria to see that there could be other eligible, more visited parks around that in the Cupertino may get the funding which is used primarily on one park can be distributed. I think that was basically a criteria to see that how much people visit them, kind of some data exists out there for its usage, and to make this as a priority.
I do believe that was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm just, that's not what we're doing here. I just wanted to point that out. Our job here is solely to see if there's conformance with the general plan goals, not to rehash the parks master plan.
Okay, and the other question I had was that for the amphitheater case, also the usage of that amphitheater is part of the project planning, or is that something just straight up coming from the master plan in the Memorial Park? My point is that since we are spending 1.7 a couple of $1 million there on that particular amphitheater, so I just want to see the rationale of its usage in some concrete numericals, like do we have some kind of a sufficient usage to spend so much money on it?
How well used it was. So that's why we're very comfortable in proceeding with these improvements.
We're going to go to Commissioner Mahdi Patla, but before we do that, I think the general gist of the questions really is there's 16 projects on here. How did they get chosen and prioritized? That's probably through City Council, correct? I just want to make sure that people understand the process. And our job is to make sure that the ones that have been chosen, prioritized by whomever that power may be, meet the general plan goals.
That's correct.
So, but who chose this? City Council? City Council prioritized these 16? Or is it staff prioritize these 16?
And Parks and Rec too.
And Parks and Rec.
It's a combination of many things. It's council direction. It's work, community input. It's outputs of various master plans. Susan mentioned the bike ped, park, storm drain. Projects are prioritized there where the need is established there. And then we also have staff recommendations that can be based on health and safety and other things that factor into it.
Just to make sure everybody has context, since for some of us this is the first time we've done this. So,
and
okay.
it is worth noting that we've vetted the projects with the Bike and Ped Commission and the Parks and Rec Commission prior to going to council. So we definitely had feedback.
Yep. Okay. Great. Commissioner Mahdi-Patla.
Yeah. So on, I missed the opportunity to ask this question, on the safety and section, right? Sorry about that. So on the traffic garden feasibility study, so that one, it doesn't have any of those indicators, like, at the beginning of the staff report, there are indicators that says, yeah, this is, council preferred, or, the community asked, or, it's funded, those kind of things. This doesn't have any indicators on it. And do we have data on, where else such parks exist, the traffic parks, and what's the usage, what's the value that, the cities and the community get out of it, right? Is there some data on that?
The concept has a lot of more popularity on the East Coast than it does on the West Coast, and it's also been rolled out in Europe quite a bit.
Okay.
And where those parks, the gardens exist, they are very popular. And part of the difference is, for example, we now have what we call pop-up traffic parks in the parking lots that we take to the schools, and a permanent park garden with built-in features better simulates driving around a corner or something like that, so that the participants have a better sense of the responsibility as a driver or a pedestrian or a bicyclist. And we're also aware of the costs. We're looking at the part of this would be to test not just the feasibility and understand what would be the requirements of the project going forward, but also there are other similar organizations in the Bay Area, in this region, that are very interested in the traffic garden concept, and we're hoping that we can effectively partner with those groups.
But the money for this feasibility study is going to go from our tax dollars, right? It's not like funded activity. So I'm just concerned. I know it's a waste of money that may not ever happen because we don't have it anywhere in the West Coast and East Coast. If I'm right, it's there in New York, nowhere else. So did we pick a project that's like a dead end and we're throwing away money? That's my concern.
Well, it's almost like you listened to the May 4th study session, because council did not provide input on this that really merited going forward. It was proposed to them, and we do feel it's important to have an educational component to the things that we do, not just to try to engineer everything away, but have better education. We're including it in the list to the Planning Commission because perhaps council could have a change of heart, and we might as well leave it on the list right now.
Okay.
But that is the status of the project right now.
So to be clear, this is a staff-driven project at this moment?
It is. It is.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. So someone,
Yeah.
like one day someone went to a conference and roundabouts were hot. Currently traffic gardens are hot. Got it. So.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of, educating kids, about the traffic and all that, but it's missing, any of those legends, right? So, and it's not funded, and it's being funded from our dollars, and it doesn't exist anywhere except, New York, right? So I'm like, are we throwing away money on something that may never see the light?
Well, yeah, right now it's been dropped off of the list of 16. We now have a list of 15. But it is council's direction, and maybe they, like I said, they'll have a change of heart. And I would just, it'd be a shame to say, well, we didn't include that with the Planning Commission's consideration for general plan conformance.
Thank you.
No problem. Makes sense. Okay. That sounds good. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to the members of the public. Oh,
I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion. I mean, any of these proposals, when we suggest for planning commission, I think we kind of have to substantiate it a little bit with the data and a little bit quantitative, because we are spending quite a good chunk of money on each of these projects, not even few $100,000, it's in millions. So to having some kind of a data corroborating the premise that this is very highly used, or this is something will make things much more easy to decide and to talk about it. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion to council as to understanding frequency of use, understanding the funding source, understanding who proposed the project. I think that's something council hopefully has in place for what's going on. Anybody else with some comments? Susan, go ahead.
Sorry, Chair. One of the attachments to the staff report was the proposed project's narratives. I believe it was number 3.
Attachment 3, yep.
We tried to include actually almost all of those criteria in that narrative. So if the project was generally generated by staff, because that's the way things are, we mentioned, I can't remember the other criteria you mentioned now, but we did put a lot of that in the narrative. So there's more detail in there than it might first imply.
Yeah, attachment 3 is fairly detailed. So thank you very much for putting that together. Okay, let's get to the public. I think they've been dying to ask questions. We'll see how much. So, all right, we're going to the public. You've got 3 minutes to ask questions. If you've got a question, please raise your hand. We will unmute you from Zoom and call your name. And okay, we got Nori with the first question. And please unmute yourself and come join us. And I think we'll bring you in. I think that's how it works.
This is not a question. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, this is not a question. I would like to talk about the Memorial Park. Magical Bridge Playground is really magical place for all ability, all ages, and for all children. It is founded by Magical Bridge Foundation, which partner with corporations like Apple and Google, and many more, as well as individual donors. The first Magical Bridge Playground was built in Palo Alto. It is also under construction, Mountain View, Sunnyvale, Santa Clara, Redwood City, Morgan Hill. Magical Bridge is also under construction in Singapore. So how about a Cupertino? Olanka, founder of Magical Bridge Foundation, and I think that the Memorial Park is the best location to build all-inclusive playground. It is the biggest park in Cupertino, next Quinlan Community Center, Sports Center, tennis court, baseball field, senior center, and 3 big fields. Memorial Park is easy to access from Stevens Creek of 85. Therefore, many families can visit from other cities, which is good for small businesses, especially many stores and restaurants were closed. The large unused pond can be used for Magical Bridge Playground. After removing water irrigation and hazards were removed from the pond. Large senior apartment and memorial care unit will be built at the Westport next Memorial Park. This playground is also for aging population. Many Magical Bridge can offer special need enrichment activities, socialization, recreation classes at the Quinlan Community Center. Pond is away from Stevens Creek, so it is quiet. I believe that children with special needs also enjoy interaction with other children. Also, I believe that other children can learn compassion, empathy, respect from young age. Lack of the parking lot can resolve if some permit parking lot can be open to the public. City is concerned about event. Festivals are mostly weekend several times a year, and many performances are in evening. Please consider to build first all-inclusive magical bridge playground in Memorial Park. This is good for PR for Cupertino as well. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Nori, for your comments. Anybody else would like to add something? Okay.
Chair Wong, I mean, I could briefly respond that
Please go ahead.
One of the three things happening at Memorial Park is the development of a specific plan, and having playgrounds at Memorial Park will be in the specific plan, and any element of those parks of those playgrounds being all inclusive will definitely be considered part of that.
No problem. Yes, we're seeing a bunch of these pop up throughout the valley as well. To Nori, it's you can make your passionate appeal as these specific plans are being created. I think that's a great place for that in the Parks and Recs Commission as well as they look at their strategy. Okay, no more comments from the public. Very surprising. Okay, let's take it back here. Back to the agenda at hand. Commissioners, any other comments before we make any motions? As set forth, as Seth would put it. Sorry about it, Seth.
I think I just wanted to get one thing clear, that the purpose here is just to make sure that it is in compliance with the general plan. And it's not anything else, right? We're not really ranking or sorting or doing anything else on those.
Right. That's not our job.
That is correct. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not our job, but that is City Council's job. We just need to make sure that these items that were chosen are in conformance with the general plan, along with the supporting documents for the general plan that are listed on each one of these projects. Yeah, we're not ranking them. We can make all the comments we want. We just have to make sure it matches to the general plan and conforms to CEQA.
Yeah, I think with that metric, that being the goal, the presentation and the narrative by the staff is pretty consistent with what the general plan says. And since we're not discussing anything about the priority or the choice, those discussions are probably left to some other time.
Okay, with that, are you trying to propose a motion or are you just making a general comment?
I could propose a motion. It's just that I'm hoping if any of the other commissioners want to speak something.
Okay. Any comments from any of the commissioners? Vice Chair?
I would just point out, I appreciate what Nori said about the Magical Bridge Playground. I believe the city already has a grant for an all-inclusive playground, and that they had evaluated a bunch of locations, and for specific reasons that they did not choose Memorial Park. Anyway, but that's not our that's not something Planning Commission really has any input on. That's the City Council's decision. And I'm happy to propose a motion that we adopt the draft resolution to find that the 2021-2022 capital improvement program is consistent with the city's general plan, and this consistency determination is exempt from CEQA.
I'll second that.
We got a second. Okay. Any comments? We're discussing the motion. I miss bird poop at Memorial Park, but that's just me. So, anyways, say that in jest. Okay. All right. I don't see any other comments, any other debate. I'm not trying to draw anything out from anyone unless they've got something to say. So let's turn it to Abby. Please do the honors.
Commissioner Saxena?
Yes.
Commissioner Kapil?
No, I don't understand this proposal, so I will not vote for it.
Okay.
Are you not voting or are you abstaining?
I'm abstaining from voting.
Okay.
Commissioner Mahipatla?
Yes.
Vice Chair Scharf?
Yes.
Chair Wong?
Aye. I think our motion carries 401, if that's correct.
Yes.
Okay, guess we'll record that.
Yeah, I mean, if I can add clarification, right? So, if we are being asked to vote, just these are conforming to the general plan. Yes, we all voted, right? If it's a vote for approving these projects for CIP, definitely, I have reservations about two of the ones that I spoke about, but that's not the motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That is correct.
Right.
That is correct. Yeah, I have lots of reservations on how we're spending money in the city, but that doesn't apply here. These conform to the plan, and then if you have an issue, we can definitely participate in the city council meeting.
Right. As a member of the public, you can always comment at city council meetings, not as a member of the planning commission, and give your input on these projects.
Thank you for clarifying that as well, Vice Chair. Okay. I don't think we have any old business. I don't see any new business. Staffing commission reports. So go ahead. Oh, wait, sorry. We got a question.
Chairman Wong, I wanted to bring up this question of school funding and the impact of different housing elements on that over time. Now, we had talked about that about a month and a half ago, or maybe 2 months ago. And I was wondering if we need to do something more formal to make a request to the school district and gather some information, or like if we have to understand that situation better, what would be the steps we'll have to take so that we can gather the required data and also have somebody do the analysis.
So Mr. Chairman, I think this falls under future agendas, right?
Future agenda items, correct, yeah. Yes. So let me get there. Let me get to staffing commission reports, and then Commissioner Saxena, we will get to future agenda setting, along with some other comments, items that we may want to put in future agenda items. So real quick, no old business, no new business, any staff and commission reports. Commissioner Saxena, anything that you want to report? We'll get to your point in future agenda. So,
no, Vice Chair Sharp has his hand up.
All right, Vice Chair Sharp.
Okay. Oh, so we are on commission reports now, right? Or
we are on the item of staff and commission reports.
Okay. The only report I have, I've been attending the meetings for the California Alliance of Local Electeds. We continually meet with members of the state legislature, both senators and assembly members, and they are quite aware of all the issues that nearly every city in California has regarding the housing situation, as well as the numbers for our next RENA. And so, it's good to talk to these legislators, because they are very aware of some of the issues that we've discussed in Planning Commission and City Council meetings regarding the difficulty in getting the housing built that the City Council approves and entitles in their RENA. And hopefully we will continue to meet with these legislators and hopefully have some influence and get some good legislation passed that will help us address building more affordable subsidized housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. Anybody else with commission staff reports? Meetings you may have attended, things that you've done, things that you want to share, any kind of announcement?
Yes, I have two things. Could I go?
Yeah, please go.
So I did the mayor's meeting last, the April one. So I captured the minutes, of various commissions and what I represented, from planning commission. So I sent those minutes, notes, to the staff and to you, Chair. So that's one. The other one, there is a new law that's making its way. It's called AB 1139. I think it's to do with taxing more for solar customers. My concern is it's going to send us backwards on the clean energy front. So I was wondering if there is a way city can take a stance and write to the state, like, guys, don't do this, because we are making great progress on clean energy, and I'm just afraid, this is going to set us backwards. That's just, my opinion.
Thank you for sharing that, Mooney. Any other commissioners with announcements?
We had a design review committee earlier this month.
Oh, yeah.
And
right.
we did approve an exemption for the site setback requirements for a new home being constructed in the the recently incorporated part of Monte Vista, which has very narrow lots. So we approved that.
Imperial Avenue.
Right, Imperial, correct.
Imperial, 5 foot, 5 foot, 5 foot setbacks. Yep.
Thanks for letting me sit on the in one of those. Now I know what to expect and what to do. Thank you.
Thank you for being there.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Staff and commission reports? Okay. With that, we're gonna
I was gonna, reinforce what Mooney said regarding solar. I think we may want to request that the city council take a position on that bill, because I know other states like Nevada have done something similar. It's basically destroyed the deployment of solar there, because the utility will no longer reimburse customers for the kilowatts that they put onto the grid at the kind of rates we're enjoying now. Basically, now we get paid the retail value of kilowatt hours we put on the web, not put on the grid, not the wholesale. And it would be a shame if this law was enacted. But of course, I know the utilities are very much in favor of it.
Yeah, it's for me, it's not so much, how much they pay. It's so much, the fixed connectivity fee that they're expecting, solar producers to pay, right? So I think, a lot of them will disconnect from the.
I think a lot will, but as chair, I'm going to move us along. So I apologize. I'm going to politely move us on to future agenda items. Sorry about that. Yes. So let's move to future agenda items. And Commissioner Saxena, I think you had one that's there. And then I do have one about being a little bit more proactive on the 5G regulations. So go ahead, Commissioner Saxena.
Yeah. So, yes. So I wanted to touch upon the effort to understand how different forms of housing, single family, multifamily, owner occupied versus apartments, contribute to the schools in terms of the school generation ratio, and also how much they contribute to the tax base, which actually contributes to the schools. This information is important for us as a planning commission to understand what kind of development and new housing we should encourage in Cupertino, and if needed, what kind of remedial measures we need to take so that our school districts remain solvent. So that's the part which I wanted to start an initiative on. Ideally, I would like the school district to supply us the data in terms of, past 25 years, how many people have gone from each address or something, so that we could actually understand the impact as seen in our city, which is quite unique in some ways in terms of the preference of parents with school-going children to come here, and understand that so that we can take planning decisions which are consistent with the long-term health of our school districts.
Commissioner Saxena, you're asking for data that would say the turnover in the neighborhood, the impact on the tax base when that turnover occurs, the impact of rental housing versus owner-occupied housing, what actually is required, what actually happens when you have apartment complexes built versus single-family homes,
or
and really
condos,
what that means,
or owner-occupied
condos, right, or townhomes, and so the mix of housing and the impact to the tax base,
and the school generation ratio, right? That's the other aspect.
Now, right, and the type of housing might attract certain types of families at different price points.
If we have apartments which are primarily for rentals, do they have a higher school generation ratio versus condos, and so on, especially when measured over like period of a decade or two. So those are the kind of things which I'm looking for. Now, I'm not sure whether the city already has the data or the city can work with the school district to get the data. But that's an effort which I want to hopefully kickstart, so we can plan ahead in a manner where we keep a school district solvent, especially because we have so much of new housing coming on board.
Got it. And also intergenerational mixes. We have a lot of folks that are grandparents that have their grandchildren in these school districts as well. So because of the quality of the school. Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure how that gets started, but let me get back to you and maybe we can find a way to work with staff to find how that works or what the process is. I think council would have to create that work program for it or support something from my understanding. Otherwise, you and I and a number of volunteers can just go out and figure out how to research that, which is also another option. So we shouldn't always be dependent on that funding to be able to do that. Okay. Anybody else with future agenda items? Okay, I have one. I think the question about 5G and 5G zoning at some point needs to be revisited again. I think the council has backed that. I need to double check to see where they are on that. This is really thinking about residential restrictions on antenna types from a aesthetic perspective. How we treat residential areas, school areas, and commercial areas. We'll double check to find out where that is, but just want to publicly say to those that are watching and that are worried about the aesthetics of 5G towers being popped up and the lack of rules and the lack of any planning behind that, so that there's some kind of conversation point about that and some kind of uniform application of those rules. So I think that's something we'll be talking about more. So, all right. If there's nothing else on the agenda, I don't mean to cut anyone else off, so flag me or tell me. I'd like to adjourn the May 25th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting for the City of Cupertino. So, thank you, everybody.
Hey, thank
See you
you.
in 2 weeks.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me.